Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a new review. I don't know if it's Throwback Thursday. I don't know if it's Flashback Friday, honey, but we throwing that thing back, okay? We are about to get into the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 8, Episode 7. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Share with a friend. Tell somebody who knows somebody who's going to tell somebody if you get anything out of the content. Now, child, let's get into it if we going to get into it. When the episode first opens up, they sent Shamia, aka Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Puff, according to Kenya, down to Miami because Portia and Kenya were in charge of the trip. So the heifers have been down in Miami for one day. Okay, so now they went to the restaurant. They met Glenn, which is Tammy's nephew, and Oliver, which is some man that Portia picked up. So here we go. So the ladies are in Miami. Tammy's nephew is on the boat and they're going back to the house, right? So you have this man on the boat, you have his friend, and you have Oliver. Like I told y'all, Portia picked him up. So Portia suggests they play Never Have I Ever. Here go Phaedra. Oh, this is turning into a swingers convention. And girl, how? Let me find out. Let me find out, honey. Because you know Phaedra got that freaky Scorpio energy in her, honey, and she ain't fooling me. So Cynthia, in her confessional, she was like, listen, I've learned my lesson about drinking on them boats, okay? Because y'all remember, this is the season where Portia was in Cynthia's face trying to apologize or whatever it is she was doing on that boat. And Cynthia went Kung Fu Panda and kicked at Portia, threw her over to the side, child. Carlos King was on top of Portia trying to hold her down. Portia was losing her damn mind and all hell broke loose, okay? So to mend things, and because Cynthia was going through things with Peter because he was all down in Charlotte, rubbing all up on that lady's neck and bar none. They decided that they were going to put together a trip to try to get Cynthia's mind off of things so she could stop losing her mind. Okay, so I'm just giving y'all a little backstory. So they playing Never Have I Ever. Cynthia said, listen, I've learned my lesson about drinking on boats. Okay, so I'm going to switch from wine to water. Okay, because I ain't got time, honey. Y'all don't know these men. So I'm with you on that. Y'all do not know them. So it's best that you switch from alcohol to water. Moving forward. So over on the boat, King is snapping at Tammy's nephew. She's like, young buck. What's your name? Now y'all know. Back then, Phaedra and Miss USA couldn't stand each other. First of all, Kenya, why are you snapping at this grown man? That makes absolutely no sense. Okay? So here go Phaedra. Everybody knows, Kenya, men aren't dogs. You can't snap and expect them to respond. Well, I mean, some men are dogs. Some men are. But snapping at anybody is just rude as hell. Like, Kenya, get it together, girl. You can't be snapping at this man. So he was like, I know damn sure you ain't snapping at me, shawty. She was like, no, I'm trying to get your name. So he snapped back and Kenya was like, oh, Glenn got a little spice to him. Yes, for Glenn, honey. So she laying our back, child, because she done seen this young thing and she think he's something. He had more than a little spice to him though, okay? He was all the way turned the hell up. All the way turned up. Honey, he was all the way turned up. Shout out to Soulja Boy. So Shamia was like, never have I ever had a golden shower. So Portia and Sheree, they drank. To this day, even watching this episode for the 567,784 millionth time, to this day, I think Portia was lying and she was showing out. She was showing out in front of Oliver. Girl, you ain't had no golden shower. But then again, I'm going to keep that to myself. Girl, you ain't had no golden shower. And Sheree, let me find out you let Big Bob pee on you. Girl, that is nasty. So, baby, when they said the golden shower, Kim Fields got right on up to check on her kids, honey. She went to call her man. Did they eat the SpaghettiOs? Were they a big hit? Oh, my gosh, I can't wait to come home because I'm out here with the Tatianas. Back over with Cynthia. Cynthia talking about, never have I ever done a sexual job while someone is driving. They all like, boo, it's giving elementary school. Cynthia, Phaedra to my girl, everybody done that. I'm like, I know that's right, y'all. Not a sexual job. Anywho, so they get back to the house, y'all. Mind y'all, Candy is big and pregnant this season. Okay, and these strange men are in the house. So she's like, I ain't know we were bringing back strangers in the house, but okay. Yeah, Candy, they done brought back, there's a stranger in my house. It took a while to figure out. Honey, don't let me get into it. Child, shout out to Tamia, honey. That used to be my jam. But anywho, that's just a side note. So the men are back, Candy's confused, and I'm like, oh, honey, this a whole fool. So Kim is trying to introduce them to Candy. Mind y'all, this is the season that Kim Fields was introduced. Okay, so you got good old Kim Fields. You got Candy, Portia, Phaedra, Kenya, and a Partridge in a Pear Tree, and Sheree. So Kim is trying to introduce them to Candy. She's like, yeah, this is Tammy's nephews. And so Oliver introduces himself to Candy. And he's like, oh, your name is Candy? Well, she's my Candy. Here go Portia. I'm finna get weak. Portia, get up. Oh, my goodness. Man, I miss old school Housewives. Those were really the days. They really were. Moving forward. So Oliver was introducing himself to Candy and whatnot. And for me, Oliver was not cute to me. And I look at Portia and then these roster of past men, and baby, she ain't got no type. She ain't got no type, honey. Oh, child, I don't know. It's giving shallow hell. But anyway, so Candy wondering what happened to Duke. Because, honey, you was just giving him a party 5 minutes ago. Had him driving all out to the wilderness and whatnot. And you had cheerleaders and hot dogs and popcorn and all kind of stuff. And now Duke is out and Oliver is in. So they all go out by the pool, okay? Because they back. They get into their bathing suits. And the men somehow had swimming trunks. Honey, I don't know how. So Glenn, who is Tammy's nephew, he walks up to Candy and she's sitting there with Kim. And he's like, did I say congrats? Congrats, sweetheart. So Candy said, oh, thanks. Very normal. Okay. She said, thank you. Very normal. He's like, what attitude is that? Sir, take your drunk self on somewhere. He's like, you don't want it with me. You know, I don't care. As long as I'm respectful, I can say what I want. So in the confessional, Candy is like, I'm a pregnant woman. Who turns up on the pregnant lady? Take your ass over there with them. I'm like, I know that's right. He was unstable from the start, okay? Unstable. He made me uncomfortable from home watching through the screen. So I can only imagine how Candy felt in that moment. So child, he's steady talking. And so then he walks off. And the friend co-signing everything he's saying, you know, by nodding his head and like, yeah, we know how you is. We know how you is. A fool. So he walks off. So Candy telling Kim, I mean, he might have been crazy and I got a little bun in the oven. So I just feel like I might need to shut up. That would have ended the night for me. Once he said, what you got an attitude for and all that, and I'm pregnant and I don't know you, I'm getting the hell up and I'm leaving. And Kim just sitting there smiling, talking about, have a good night. Just, okay, have a good night. So she trying to keep it cool and trying to kiki and caca with the man, hoping that he'll go the hell away. So he goes away, but he's still acting up. So he go over there and sit next to Sheree. While he doing that, Portia over there with old clumsy Oliver, honey, he falling all down in the pool and whatnot. I'm like, oh, child, this is a mess. Candy and Kim, they over there people watching and gossiping. Honey, that's my favorite thing to do. Do you hear me? So Cynthia rolls up. She's like, y'all over here gossiping like two old aunties. And was. Portia over there flat back twerking, putting on a show for Oliver. Everybody like, girl, what is you doing? Portia, what is going on? So, baby, she having herself a good time. So, Candy in the confessional, she was like, you know, it's just funny how Portia has changed from the Stepford wife. Now she's the queen of Thotland. Listen, I ain't gonna hold y'all. Miami bring it out of you. It bring it out of you. Party in the city where the heat is on all night on the beach till the break of dawn. Welcome to Miami. Bienvenido a Miami. Honey, I'm letting my hair down in Miami. I'm letting it down, honey. You can let your hair down. You can wear your thong bikinis. Honey, you can be whoever you want to be. Honey, you can be whatever you want to be. Okay, you really could be whatever you want to be down in Miami. Honey, that should be their slogan. But anywho, I wasn't mad at Portia for having herself a good time. Because I'm going to have myself a great time when I go to Miami. So they over there chit-chatting, right? Portia and Oliver, that is. My question is this. Where did Oliver get these swim trunks? Not you already coming equipped with the trunks. Sir, how did you know you was going back with me? Where were you when you met him? Child, just got so many questions. Anywho, Back over on the other side with Kim, Cynthia, and Candy, because y'all know Cynthia has joined the group. Kim is like, are these men spending the night? Like, is my safety in jeopardy? Now listen to what Kim just said. Are these men spending the night? Is my safety in jeopardy? Because he had just got in Candy's face talking about her attitude. Okay? See, I don't do the bring random men back to the Airbnb. Camera crew or no camera crew. You will not bring a random back to this damn house. Like, what? So Candy is like, I need him to go way over there. Okay? And I need him to get away from Sheree because he's weird. Over in the hot tub, he's saying something about Candy having an attitude and he ain't do nothing wrong. And Sheree was like, you ain't do nothing wrong. No. She don't even know what he's talking about. But she just co-signing, right? So Tammy is circling the pool like a shark. Dun, 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 dun. I was like, girl, what is wrong? Girl, what is wrong with you? So Kenya looks over and see her circling, honey, like a shark. And Kenya was like, ooh, she lurking. And she was. So he said, don't talk about my aunt. She said, no, I'm just saying she's lurking. Now, mind you, the whole time Kenya is saying this, she's smiling. Okay? She not saying it in a way like, well, I'm just saying she lurking. She's not saying it like that. Okay? She's not. She's really saying, yeah, I'm just saying that she's lurking, right? Okay, so when she did that, then child, what she say that for? Because he looked at her and he gonna say, yeah, I'm just saying. And she's like, what? He said, don't dare bring it my way. She said, bring what your way? The shade? He said, nothing. Don't bring nothing my way. Okay, clearly he toe up. Okay? Tammy wasn't no better. But as for me, I would have asked him to leave. And that's just me. So then he's like, these bitches, they better get on with that bull. These bitches. I mean, he's steady cussing and calling them all kinds of B's and H's, honey. Every female dog and garden tool that you could be called, he was saying it. But didn't nobody hear him though. Okay. So Kenya's like, in her confessional, the more I hang around this guy, I see he's kind of crazy and erratic. So she gets up to go over to where Candy, Kim, and Cynthia are. So Candy was like, what you doing over here? And she's like, girl, he's just weird. So Candy was like, girl, yes, because why he came over here mean mugging me? So Kenya goes, I mean, he's just a little bit too aggressive. I just want him to leave. So in the confessional, Candy said, you know, even though everybody else act like they don't know what's going on, she's happy that Kenya sees what she sees because he's crazy. Okay? So Kenya is like, I think he needs to go. Tammy tiptoes over there, loose as a goose, honey, with her corona. And Candy was like, so, did you enjoy the boat? Baby Tammy said. Y'all got to rewatch this episode. Oh, honey. Look, Candy asked her if she enjoyed the boat. Tammy said, I mean, you know, whatever. And child, that was funny to me. So then Kenya tells Tammy that her nephew snapped at her. And she's like, wait a minute. He snapped at you? He was disrespectful? Yeah, he was disrespectful. He was damn disrespectful. So she was like, yeah, I mean, he was aggressive. And was. So Kim, here go Kim over there in the corner. Talking about, oh, Lord, not another kick out. Kim, hush. Okay, this one is justified. His behavior is unnecessary. Okay, it's all the way unnecessary. So Tammy gonna say, okay, because she's okaying that he should leave. Glenn, the nephew, is over there talking about none of these hoes could tell me anything. None of these hoes could tell me anything. This is what he is saying. Okay. So Portia sees that it's about to get started. So she goes ahead and escorts Oliver out. Candy is like, you know what? And on that note, I'm pregnant. I'm going upstairs. Cynthia said, I already seen this movie before and I do not want tickets, honey. I'm about to go upstairs and I'm going to bed. Moving forward. So they in the house. Okay. Now, mind you, Cynthia is upstairs. Candy is upstairs. Portia has escorted Oliver to the outside. So Tammy tells him that they gotta go. So he turns around and looks at the collective, right? Sheree talking about what happened? Why he gotta go? So in the confessional, Sheree said, well, I mean, just a minute ago, Kenya was flirting and flicking her dress at him. Now she wants to kick him out. Which one is it, boo? It's kick him out, boo. That's what it is. She did all that before she saw him acting up. Sheree, keep up. Honey, always lost, child. So Kenya says to him, listen, I've been trying to talk to you all night and you've been weird. So I just want you to leave in a very calm voice. So Phaedra's like, well, you didn't make me uncomfortable. Well, that's fine, Faye. We didn't ask you, okay? You're not the only one here. She's saying that he made her uncomfortable. So he starts walking up on her. He's like, watch out, little bit. Watch out, little bit. I don't play none of that, little bit. I don't play none of that, little bit. So he walking towards her. Kenya's backing up. She has her hand extended. And she's like, security. So he steady walking up, right? So he cussing Kenya out, walking closer. See? This right here is a fool. So as he's walking up, Tammy is walking up at the same time up on him. So then he pushes Tammy down on that hard concrete floor and everybody's like, oh my God. So now he tussling with security. Tammy is sprawled out on the floor. Here goes Sheree. Somebody call an ambulance. It's called a who? Oh my goodness. I love the way black people gonna call the ambulance anything than the ambulance, honey. They gonna call it anything other than the ambulance, honey. Somebody call it ambulance. Somebody call it ambulance. Somebody call it ambulance. Anybody but the ambulance. Ooh, child, I love us for real. So they trying to get the ambulance to come up there, honey, the ambulance. And they trying to get Tammy to come too, making sure she's okay. So Kenya's like, you saw that? So Sheree was like, yeah, I saw that. I told y'all he was crazy. So Sheree goes over to give a cold compress. And Candy is like, are you okay? Because she's talking to Kenya. Kenya is clearly shaking up, honey. She got her hands over her eyes. So she asks Kenya, like, what happened, girl? What is going on? So she feeling Candy in on how he pushed Tammy to the floor. So then Cynthia comes out the room to find out what's going on. She's like, what is going on out here? So Phaedra and Portia, they over there checking on Tammy, making sure she's alert. Glenn is being escorted out by security. And so Cynthia's like, I just feel responsible because I brought her around. Kenya's like, girl, no, this is not your fault. Cynthia's like, but she's hurt and I need to check on her. There's nothing wrong with that. Kenya's like, no, there's nothing wrong. I agree, but no, what I'm saying is about the guilt. So they fussing back and forth, honey, back and forth and back while Candy over there making these faces. The way Candy was looking at them, I said, baby, Candy be looking so crazy. I'm gonna have to say this. I agree with both of them. Yes, go check on your friend because you did bring her to this group and she's hurt, but by the hands of her own damn nephew. So it ain't nothing that we can really do. And Kenya is right. It is not your fault. Okay. He did that because he's out of his mind. So Cynthia leaves to go check on her, right? And Kenya says something and Cynthia's like, I got it. Okay. I got it. I'm going to go check on her. I was like, ooh, child, the girls is fighting. So then the medics arrive. So Phaedra is blaming Kenya, talking about it's her fault. It's Tammy's nephew and she could have handled it. Listen, girl, this was not Kenya's fault. Yes, she could have just let Tammy tell him, but he was already on 10. And when Tammy told him that he had to leave, he turned around and looked at the group like, which one of you just said I need to leave? That's when Kenya said, well, I mean, I've been trying to talk to you all night. You've been weird. I just think you should leave. That was the sequence of the events. Phaedra, you just don't like Kenya. So girl, just shut up. They used to blame everything, every single melee on Kenya. And that used to piss me off. Now, mind you, during these seasons, I had absolutely no favorites. Okay, if I had to say my favorite Real Housewives of Atlanta cast member of all time, it would be Nene Leakes, hands down. I know people got their feelings about Nene, but Nene is my girl. Bloop. Okay. So at this time, I'm just watching an ensemble cast and I didn't like how they blamed everything, even that pillow talk. When it was clearly Christopher Williams' fault, you stood up and started walking towards her the same way this man started walking towards her. So you expect this woman to be like, yeah, walk up on me and call me a little bit. It's cool. Like, if y'all don't be for real. So Candy tells Kenya, well, I just want to thank you because if he kept drinking, like it could have gotten worse. So once Tammy leaves, everybody is in there talking about it, right? Portia wants to know what happened. She was like, girl, what went on? So Shamea is like, well, he did come in aggressively. Yes, he did. So Sheree is like, well, I thought he was being flirty. Sheree, no wonder you ended up with Hotel. If you think that this man was being flirty, you out your mind, honey. You are out of your She by Sheree mind. So she's like, yeah, I feel like Kenya added fuel to Glenn's fire. How does she add fuel to his fire? By asking him to leave after calling them B's or H's? How does she add the fuel? I'm just trying to figure this out, honey. Make it make sense to me. So Phaedra was like, if people not playing Kenya's game, then she don't want them around. This scene was truly infuriating to me and disgusting to me, even watching it back as many times as I've seen it. Now, I know some people may have a difference of opinion, but for me, they hated Kenya so bad that they made this her fault when clearly they saw this man turn up on Kenya and cuss her out. Not only her, but he was cussing all y'all out. Can't none of you hoes tell me nothing. He was cussing all y'all out. So I'm not understanding how y'all not seeing this. This don't make no sense. Had it been one of y'all, it would have been a totally different story. So Kenya is in the kitchen talking about, I just never want to see anybody get hurt. So Kim is like, well, I mean, neither one of them were in their clearest of minds. Add negativity to that, and I mean, it doesn't end well. Well, ma'am, he was the one that was being negative. Yeah, Kenya made the wrong move by snapping at him, but he barked at every little thing, including Candy. And she tried to laugh it off and even removed herself. The man was volatile, point blank, in the period. So Kenya is like, you don't provoke someone to push a woman. You either have it in you or you don't. Honey, I know that's right. Facts on facts on facts. So Kim is packing to leave, honey. She going back to a hotel. She wanted to leave anyway. Deuces. So the rest of the girls go find Kenya. So she's telling them how it all started on the boat. So Portia is like, but I mean, you snapped at him. She said, yes, and I acknowledged that. So while she's saying I acknowledge that, Phaedra got the screw face on, looking at Kenya like, girl, if you don't shut up. So then Candy said, well, yeah, I mean, he weirded me out too. So she tells them what he did to her. Here go Portia in the confessional, talking about, I mean, after hearing that he got aggressive with Candy as well, and she's a pregnant woman, it kind of scared me. Girl, shut up, okay? Candy giving you a secondhand story scared you, but not you watching this man come towards Kenya cussing. Girl gone. In the next scene, it's the next day, and Kenya goes in to take Candy some breakfast. Okay? So she goes in with the breakfast. Candy in there on the phone talking to Todd, telling him, listen, I know you weren't happy when I called you last night. He was like, no, you need to get the hell up out of there. Todd is pissed. Okay? And she was like, look, we worked too hard for this baby, and we don't want me to get hurt. So as she's saying that, Kenya comes in with the breakfast plate. So Candy starts telling Kenya she don't know how she slept last night because it was a whole bunch of commotion going on. And Kenya's like, girl, what happened? She was like, girl, Tammy came back with her nephews. And she was like, girl, no. So then Cynthia walks in and Kenya's like, Cynthia, Tammy came back last night. She was like, y'all lying. Y'all are lying to me. Now listen, in this scene, I could tell that Cynthia did not really want to be bothered with Kenya and really didn't want to talk to her. That's why she went to Candy's room instead of Kenya's room, and they ain't fooling me. Okay, after last night, Kenya had worked Cynthia's nerves, but that's neither here nor there. That's just a side note. Candy said, listen, all of us was downstairs, and then all of a sudden, Shamia starts yelling, Tammy at the door, Tammy at the door, and she starts running like they saw Jason or Freddy Krueger or something. So Kenya was like, well, how did she get past the gate? Candy said, I don't know. She must have jumped the gate. Child, I jumped the gate. So Candy shows them this video of Tammy, standing at the door or whatever. And Cynthia's like, I don't really care for the video. Okay, if I had to be taken away in an ambulance and found out that y'all were in here doing videos about it, I would be pissed. And let me tell you something. I agree with that. Tammy was innocent in this. Yes, she was inebriated. Yes, it's her nephew, but she got hurt at the end of the day. It's the nephew that's scary as hell. That video to me was childish. I felt like it was childish, and I agree with Cynthia. They were wrong for sitting up there taking a video. Why don't y'all check and make sure the woman is okay? She hit her head on a concrete floor. Like, come on, y'all. So Candy was like, well, security made her go to a hotel because they didn't want the guys coming back. So they escort Candy out because she has to catch a flight because she's on her way back to the A. In the next scene, Sheree is outside working out, and Phaedra goes out there to give her some water, right? So she was like, yeah, I mean, I was so disturbed by last night. I mean, it could have been handled very differently. Okay. Phaedra, my question to you is how? How? She didn't yell. She calmly asked him to leave. He turned to her to figure out why he had to leave when Tammy told him to. So how could it have been handled differently? She said, Kenya speaks degrading to people. So then Phaedra completely lost me. Now, it might just be me, but she completely lost me. She said, as a woman to black boys, those could have been my kids. And some crazy person made a generalized statement and they came to a conclusion that they're afraid all of a sudden. Okay. No, ma'am. If Dylan and Aiden were drunk and calling women bees and walking up on them, then they should be asked to leave, period. Don't try to turn this into her wrongly accusing a black man. Phaedra, you're going to have to cut it out. You're going to have to cut it out. So Sheree, she just follow behind whoever she with at the moment. She's like, yeah, we have to be careful labeling our boys. So Phaedra said, it's just not cool what Kenya did. She's like any white woman in suburbia that becomes afraid. No, the difference is the white women in suburbia become afraid from them simply walking by them. He was walking up on her to get it started. And had he continued drinking and continued getting lit, he would have lit the whole place the hell up. Okay, so don't, girl. Anyway, honey. So then she talks about Mike Brown, and she felt like Glenn didn't do anything to be hogtied. Now, I ain't see him being hogtied. I did see them have his hands behind his back so they could escort him the hell on up out of there because he was fighting security as well. Now, this is my thing. I don't feel like people should just be wrongly calling the cops, especially on our black men. Especially on our black men. But at the same time, he has to take responsibility for what he did. It's not like they just ran up on him. They gave him ample time. Security didn't start coming toward him until he started coming toward Kenya. So, we just gotta call a spade a spade. And, I hear what you're saying, but he was being aggressive with security and the other ladies. So, Phaedra, miss me with that child. Moving forward. I don't equate him being taken out by hired security to what happened to Mike Brown and Sandra Bland. Those two are not the same. They didn't call the cops on him. Okay, they didn't call the cops on Glenn. Security asked him to leave after he turned up. And once he started trying to get past them to get to Kenya and whoever else, then it was time for him to go. So they both feel like she did the wrong thing. So Phaedra said Kenya doesn't understand because she doesn't have kids. And when you have sons, black sons, and see what's happening, it's not enough action to help our black men. Well, pick me. Okay, pick me. I am a mother to a brother. Okay, I am a mother to a black son. And I'm going to teach my son to respect women as well as himself. Getting drunk, being belligerent, being aggressive, and yelling obscenities and running up on people, that's not the way. Okay, because it might not always be security. The way they don't think Glenn had any fault in any of this really pissed me off. Okay, because the thing is, yes, we have to be very careful when it comes to calling the authorities on our black men. We really do. But at the same damn time, you should have common sense enough to know that you don't run up on a woman and she's telling you that she feels unsafe and that you've weirded her out. And not only are you running up, you calling her okay? You're calling her B's and H's. So what you want her to do? Sure, this is a mess, honey. Anywho, I'm telling you right now, I don't appreciate Phaedra making it seem like Kenya wrongly accused this man of something that he did not do. I don't like it. In the next scene, Portia is getting the girls out the house to come have some fun after last night's shenanigans. So Cynthia calls Tammy to check on her while they're in the Sprinter van, right? So Phaedra grabs the phone and she tells her that they're going to make dinner and they want her to come by and bring her plate. Here goes Cynthia. Let her know we have plates. Girl. Oh my goodness. Well, you do have to let them know you got plates, child, especially Tammy. Back in Atlanta, Kim done made it home, child. Her and the family are at the park, fully clothed in 100-degree Atlanta weather. Girl, that's a whole fool. Anywho, I'm talking about they are dressed from head to toe. Long sleeves, overalls, coveralls. It's all on their body, okay? Outside in the sun. So she was like, phew, I made it. Just feels so good to be safe. I thought Glenn was provoked. What made you feel unsafe if he wasn't doing nothing to make you feel unsafe? I'm confused. So she's telling her husband that Kenya wanted to stir the pot. And he was like, well, she seems devious. Listen, sir, you weren't present. Okay. Now, Kenya is good for putting people out. But this time she wasn't wrong. Now, that's just my opinion. I don't feel like Kenya was wrong. So Kim is like, well, I don't really know if I want to work with her. For Game of Thrones, I might put up with a little foolishness. But if you ain't bringing me Game of Thrones, then I don't think so. Kim kind of had a chip on her shoulder. Yes, you're a legend in the game. You've been doing this for umpteen years. But I don't feel like she felt the ladies were on her level. She was giving judgy. She was giving really judgy. Moving forward. So over at the house, Portia is getting ready for her date with Oliver. The other ladies are in the kitchen. cooking dinner, and they're asking Cynthia about Peter, and she's like, we're good. Like, when I mention him, that's when it's a problem. So then Cynthia calls Peter, and she's like, yeah, I might be home in time for us to go to dinner. Like, just be prepared to get some tomorrow night. Child, Cynthia ain't got a sexy bone in her body. You gotta tease him till you please him, honey. You gotta tease that man up until the time you get off the plane, honey. Have him anticipating the goods. Not calling him, expect to get some tomorrow night. Girl, goodbye. Over on the other side, Portia's on this date. Miami is the perfect place for a little impromptu date. Honey, I was down with this. Do you hear me? I was down with it. I was. Back at the Airbnb, they got the itis, honey, after eating. Back with Portia and Oliver, honey, he trying to go in for a kiss. Now, I'm not down with that. Slow down, low down, honey. There is no way I would have kissed him after knowing him for 12 hours. I was like, Portia, do not put your mouth on this man. Girl, goodbye. So it's 1 o'clock in the morning, right? So she gets back to the house. Portia, what you been doing all night? Because you left like 7 something. Child, let me find out. So she gets back at 1 a.m. Miami is the city that never sleeps, so I'm going to give her that. And she's like, y'all sleep? Girl, it's the next day. Yes, they sleep. But truth be told, they boring as hell, honey, because ain't no way I'm sleeping and cooking in Miami. I'm going out. I'm dipping and doing, honey. I'm about to put on my panty shorts and I'm about to be outside. Honey, I'm not about to be in here asleep. So Portia is telling them about the date and whatnot. They all get together, do a little breast pump, honey, for a good trip. I mean, if y'all want to call it that. Like Phaedra said, take away Glenn knocking down Tammy, Kim skating the hell on up out of there, Portia and her man, and it was a good trip, I guess. Charlie's a fool. In the next scene, all the ladies are back in the A. We're seeing them all in their elements. And back over at Candy's house, Todd and Kayla, they're playing pool, talking about Kayla's little boyfriend in New York. So Candy comes downstairs with her new hairdo, honey, and Todd asks about the trip. So she's telling him, the communication with me and Phaedra, it was a little better. I felt like Phaedra was being more herself because she does this split personality thing. Like she's the Southern Belle, then she's the turnip queen. And I feel like she was definitely being more fun on this trip. But she still need to give Todd his money. Because y'all remember, Todd said Phaedra owed him money for the work that he did on her workout DVD. And that's why I don't mix friends with business. Because it turns out to be a mess. Over on the other side, Kim and Kenya, they go to brunch so they can talk, right? It started out okay. So they started talking about the trip. And Kim said, it was just all too much. That's the reason why I left. So Kenya said, well, I can see that you're torn between your family and having fun. So Kim is like, wait a minute, let me stop you right there. Okay, don't confuse the two. Okay, like I'm not going to be around an unsafe situation. So then she says that she was there with Glenn and Candy when they were chatting and it didn't have to happen that way. So what do y'all suggest should have happened? What way should it have happened? If not the way she did it. All this talking and nobody is offering solutions. So the way that she did it was wrong. So how would you have done it? So Kim says she felt like they were manufacturing drama. She said Kenya provoked him. Okay, these are all things that Kim is saying. It was manufactured drama. Kenya provoked him. So Kenya's like, no, that's not how it happened. So Kim disagrees. Kim, you must not have been paying attention. Was Candy manufacturing drama as well? So Kenya is like, listen, there were several things that happened. It wasn't just that one thing, and it escalated. And I noticed his behavior and it was getting aggressive. So Kim was like, I was there. And Kenya said, no, you were not there. You were not in the hot tub. You were not there. So Kenya said, listen, I was not provoking him. Kim said, well, you feel justified in what you did, but I didn't leave because of him, of my husband. I left because I wasn't safe. Well, if you didn't feel safe, name it. Name it. Put a name on it. Why didn't you feel safe? Huh? Because of him, right? So it makes sense that she asked him to leave so that you felt safe. That was her sole purpose in asking him to leave. Like, say it. Okay? Name it. You saying I didn't feel safe, but why? Why didn't you feel safe? So Kenya's like, listen, Kim, I really like you and we're still getting to know each other. And, I don't want there to be any, bad blood between the two of us. And Kim in her confessional was like, listen, as long as there's a level of respect, I'm cool. So Kenya goes, okay, well, I got it. It wasn't about missing your guy, although it was convenient. You just had to go because you didn't feel safe. So she's kind of smirking. So Kim said, oh, if I want to bounce, then I bounce. And that was the end of the episode. Ooh, this episode was good to me, honey. I feel like this is a brand new episode that just came out on a Sunday night. Baby, I love me some Throwback Thursday, Throwback Friday, Flashback Friday, whatever it was. I love me some Real Housewives of Atlanta. Y'all comment down below and tell me if you remember this episode and who do you remember feeling like was in the wrong? Could Kenya have done something differently? Or were the heifers just, we hate Kenya, so as long as they're attacking her, it's fine? Like, it don't matter what's going on, just attack Kenya. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.